Anchorage, Alaska, for a bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The brutal war between Russia and Ukraine broke out under Joe Biden's incompetent leadership, but President Trump is determined to try and end this war and stop the killing. As the president has said over and over again, his strong preference will always be for peace and partnership whenever those outcomes can possibly be achieved. There is no leader in the world right now who has been more committed to preventing wars or ending them than President Donald Trump. Just look at what took place here at the White House last Friday, when President Trump hosted the Azerbaijani president and Armenian prime minister and got the two leaders to sign a historic joint declaration for peace, ending a decades-long conflict that disrupted the region and claimed countless lives. In other news, we continue to see positive economic reports across the board. Today's CPI report revealed that inflation beat market expectations once again, and inflation remains stable. Overall, inflation has run at a 1.9 average annual pace in President Trump's first 6 months in office. Prices for everyday goods continue to decline. Energy prices fell in July, including gasoline, which is down nearly 10% over last year, and propane, which is down 2.5% over last year as well. Egg prices fell once again in July and are down 20% since President Trump took office. Shelter inflation, the largest contributor to overall inflation, is at its lowest level since October of 2021. Wage growth for American workers is beating inflation once again. As inflation declines, this administration continues to be wholeheartedly committed to putting more money back into the American people's pockets. American real wages are up 1.3% over last year and have increased each month since President Trump took office. And small business optimism, according to this morning's report, has also reached a 5-month high. Ignore the panicans and trust in President Trump. That is our motto here at the White House. The America First economic agenda is working. On another matter, yesterday, President Trump took bold action to finally restore law and order right here in our nation's capital. The president declared a crime emergency in the District of Columbia, federalized the D.C. Police Department, and mobilized the D.C. National Guard to end violent crime in our nation's capital. As part of the president's massive law enforcement surge, last night, approximately 850 officers and agents were surged across the city. They made a total of 23 arrests, including multiple other contacts. Last night, these arrests consisted of homicide, firearms offenses, possession with intent to distribute narcotics, fare evasion, lewd acts, stalking, possession of a high-capacity magazine, fleeing to elude in a vehicle, no permits, driving under the influence, reckless driving, and a bench warrant. A total of 6 illegal handguns were seized off of District of Columbia streets as part of last night's effort. This is only the beginning. Over the course of the next month, the Trump administration will relentlessly pursue and arrest every violent criminal in the district who breaks the law, undermines public safety, and endangers law-abiding Americans. President Trump will not be deterred by soft-on-crime Democrats and media activists who refuse to acknowledge this rampant violence on our streets. He is going to make our nation's capital the most beautiful and safe city on earth, just as he promised on the campaign trail. Staying on the topic of public safety, the Trump administration continues to shatter records on border security. According to brand new numbers released this morning from Customs and Border Patrol, illegal crossings have fallen to all-time lows once again. Here were the records set in July. Again, these numbers were released this morning. The lowest monthly nationwide encounters ever, down nearly 90% from the monthly average under the Biden administration. The lowest monthly Border Patrol apprehensions nationwide ever, smashing the previous record set the prior month in June. The lowest monthly Southwest border apprehensions ever. The lowest daily apprehension average ever. The lowest single-day apprehensions ever. And for the 3rd straight month, there were 0 illegal aliens released into the country. Let me repeat that remarkable statistic. For the 3rd month in a row, not a single illegal alien was released by the Trump administration into the United States of America. This is historic. Under President Trump, this border is the most secure it has ever been. When you fortify the border, when you restore deterrence, and when you empower Border Patrol agents and our brave men and women in uniform to actually do their jobs to enforce our laws, like this president has, this is the incredible result. And in the interior of our country, criminal illegal aliens continue to be arrested and removed. Here are some of the criminals arrested by ICE in just the last few days. ICE Buffalo arrested an illegal alien from Jamaica convicted of attempted murder. ICE Buffalo also arrested an illegal alien from Ecuador convicted of leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. ICE Houston arrested an illegal alien from Mexico convicted of manslaughter. ICE Newark arrested an illegal alien from Mexico convicted of the sexual assault of a minor. ICE Dallas arrested an illegal alien from Mexico convicted of assault causing bodily injury. And already the Trump administration has arrested more than 300,000 illegal aliens in 2025. Again, more than 300,000 illegal alien criminals have been arrested in the interior of our country in the first 6 months of this administration. And despite many false reports in the media, nearly 70% of these arrests have been criminal aliens with criminal charges or prior convictions. This is success all around. This is removing the most dangerous public safety threats from America's communities and returning these individuals to their home countries. So there's been success all around. I'm sure you have a lot of questions today. I'm happy to get to them, so let's get started. And as always, we'll start with our new media seat, who is our podcast host today, Benny Johnson. Benny, why don't you kick us off, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Caroline. As a DC resident of 15 years, I lived on Capitol Hill. I witnessed so many muggings and so much theft. I lost track. I was carjacked. I have murders on my Ring camera and mass shootings. I witnessed a woman on my block get held up at gunpoint for $20, and my house was set ablaze in an arson with my infant child inside. And so to any reporter that says and lies that DC is a safe place to live and work, let me just say this. Thank you. Thank you for making the city safe, because no parent should have to go through what my family went through, having the fire department rip open their door to save their infant child. And so thank you for your work on securing this city. My question to you is this. Nancy Pelosi has attacked the president for deploying the National Guard to the city, saying that it is to cover for his incompetence. Hillary Clinton has also attacked the president for securing the city of Washington, D.C. I'd like to get your response to Nancy Pelosi and Hillary.
Sure. Well, first of all, Benny, I'm so sorry that happened to you and your family. There have been, unfortunately, far too many victims of crime in this city, and I know the majority of residents in the District of Columbia agree with you. In fact, a new poll from the Washington Post I was reading this morning, this was released in May of 2024, so it's quite funny how many of you in the media agreed with what the president was saying yesterday, but now once the president says it, many of you are disagreeing with him. But this poll released by the Washington Post found that 65% of district residents think crime is an extremely serious or a very serious problem, and this was up from 56% last year. So the concern that you share with so many other residents in the District of Columbia is real, and that's why this president is taking action to address it. To get to the heart of your question, I think it's despicable that Democrats cannot agree that we need more law and order in a city that has been ravaged by violence, crime, murders, property theft. This should be a winning issue for all Americans. I don't understand. It's just anything President Trump does, the Democrats want to disagree with. I think the president would love to work with Democrats on this issue to bring law and order to America's cities, but unfortunately they have failed, and that's why he's taken this historic action to federalize the National Guard. And as you're seeing from last night's numbers, we already have seen success. We are removing violent offenders, we are arresting criminals, and we are removing drugs and firearms off of the streets of the city to make it safer for all of its residents.
Just a very quick follow-up to that. Given the heroic actions of a member of this administration just a few blocks from this building, will the president consider giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Big Balls?
I haven't spoken to him about that, but perhaps it's something he would consider. I'll ask him and get back to you, Benny. Thanks for being here. Kate.
Thank you, Caroline. Regarding the Putin, President Trump summit on Friday, Why not invite Ukrainian President Zelensky to that summit? I know the president said yesterday that he planned to speak with him right after the summit and even before. But why not invite Zelensky? Whose decision was it to not invite him? Was it the president or was it President Putin?
Well, this meeting came about because the president of Russia asked the president of the United States to meet through his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, who, as you all know, traveled to Russia to have a conversation with Putin at his request. And so the president is agreeing to this meeting at the request of President Putin. And the goal of this meeting for the president is to walk away with a better understanding of how we can end this war. And the president said at this podium yesterday when he joined all of you in the room that he hopes in the future there can be a trilateral meeting with these three leaders to finally bring this conflict to an end. But this administration has really used every lever, has taken every measure to achieve peace through a diplomatic solution. And I think the president of the United States getting in the room with the president of Russia, sitting face to face rather than speaking over the telephone, will give this president the best indication of how to end this war and where this is headed.
And another question on something that happened yesterday, but I wanted to get the White House response. A judge ruled that the grand jury transcripts in Ghislaine Maxwell's case should not be released. What's the White House response to that? And do you plan to appeal? And what do you tell President Trump's supporters who want that information released?
We think that decision is unfortunate. Of course, we moved to unseal that information because the president has said he wants to see credible evidence released. As for the appeal process, I would defer you to the Department of Justice for that.
Rachel. Thanks so much, Caroline. We're learning that President Trump spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky. I was curious if you can share any more details about their call, and did Zelensky give President Trump any red lines, any non-starters ahead of the summit on Friday?
Look, I don't want to reveal the private conversations between the president and President Zelensky, but what I can tell you is that the president has deep respect for all parties that are involved in this conflict and are trying to bring this conflict to an end. After Special Envoy Witkoff returned from his meeting with President Putin in Russia, his first phone call was to President Trump. And President Trump's first phone call was to President Zelensky and to our friends in Europe to keep everybody in the loop about where the United States can see moving the ball forward to end this conflict. And so we continue to be very much engaged with President Zelensky and the Ukrainians, but also our allies in Europe as well.
And then just one more for you. How does the president measure success coming out of this meeting? The president at times has suggested that Putin might be tapping him along. Is he prepared to walk out of this meeting if he senses that Putin is not serious about ending this war?
I think I just answered that question for you and what the goal and the expectation of the meeting is. And I won't jump ahead of any hypotheticals, and I'll leave it to the president to speak to all of you after the meeting, which I'm very confident he will. Steve.
Is he optimistic that a deal will emerge from this meeting, or is he simply going to listen?
I think this is a listening exercise for the president. Look, only one party that's involved in this war is going to be present. And so this is for the president to go and to get, again, a more firm and better understanding of how we can hopefully bring this war to an end.
Caroline, how did you settle on Alaska as the site for this? There were some other sites being discussed. Is it like it's a midpoint between the two meetings?
There were many sites discussed, but of course Alaska is a state within the United States of America, so the president is very honored and looks forward to hosting President Putin on American soil.
Last thing, is there a joint news conference plan, or will the president have a solo one? What sort of schedule?
Yeah, the mechanics and the scheduling, Steve, are still being ironed out. For Friday, we're working with our Russian counterparts to put those plans into action, and of course we'll keep you all apprised on the logistical details of Friday as soon as we get them. Charlie?
The president said podium yesterday twice that he was planning to go to Russia. Was that a verbal slip-up, or does he actually plan to go to Russia?
Perhaps there are plans in the future to travel to Russia, and on Friday the president will be meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, as you know. Phil?
Last week, the president said the CEO of Intel was highly conflicted, seeking to cite his past investment with Chinese companies that were doing business with the Chinese military. Yesterday, he called his meeting with that CEO a success. So what can you tell us about what the Intel CEO said to President Trump that changed his mind?
The president put out a statement that you cited, Phil. I will leave it at that. He shared his thoughts on that meeting and how it went, and for any further comment on that, I'll leave it to him to make.
Will the Bureau of Labor Statistics continue to put out monthly jobs reports?
Well, look, what I'll tell you about the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I believe that is the plan and that's the hope, and that these monthly reports will be data that the American people can trust. As you know, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has made massive revisions after the last several points reports that they have put out. And there has certainly been a decline in the quality and the reliability of data coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there's been an increase in revisions. And this president and the administration is finally tackling this problem that so many have talked about, and the president is actually doing something about it. We need to restore new leadership that we can trust. As you know, the president has appointed someone new to take over the BLS, and so we need to look at the means and the methods of how the United States is acquiring this very important data, and all of that is going to be done, and the goal, of course, is to provide honest and good data for the American people to make very important economic decisions on. Michael.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions, if I may. The president has talked about land swaps between Russia and Ukraine. Vladimir Putin says he wants Russia to hold on to Russian-occupied territory in eastern Ukraine. Is the White House at all concerned about the messaging that potentially giving over or allowing Russia to maintain its occupied territory in eastern Ukraine? What that might say to other U.S. adversaries like China?
Look, right now, the President of the United States has done more to end this war than his predecessor, Joe Biden, who allowed this war to take place. This war, don't forget, happened at the result of the weakness and the incompetence of the previous administration. And so the president inherited this conflict, and he is determined to end it. And it's a very complex and complicated situation. As for the details of the plans that have been kind of tossed back and forth, I won't get into those, and I will let the President of the United States discuss those plans with the President of Russia, with our European allies, and the President of Ukraine, Zelensky himself as well. Sure, go ahead, in the green.
As far as the police and security operations,
You just speak up.
is there a timeline? Do we know what success looks like? Is it going to last longer than 30 days? And also, is there going to be an immigration enforcement aspect to this?
So can you speak up a little bit? The air conditioning is bumping in here for all of you today after yesterday's heater, so we've got to stock up. You're welcome. Go ahead.
Is there a timeline for the security operations here in DC? And also, is there going to be an immigration component to this? And what does that look like?
Look, if law enforcement officers encounter a criminal in the city and they are an illegal alien, of course the appropriate measures to detain and deport that individual will be taken, as they should. No city should be a sanctuary for anyone other than law-abiding American citizens, and that has been the position of this administration since day one. As for the timing, we will reevaluate and reassess and make further decisions after this 30-day period is up. But within these 30 days, our entire focus is making sure that this is the most efficient operation possible and that we are removing as many criminals from the streets and we are cleaning up DC as best as we can and working with the Metropolitan Police Department to do that. I know the mayor just spoke several minutes ago. I was watching her on television and she said that an increase of law enforcement officers on the streets will be helpful to deter crime in this city, and we look forward to working with these brave men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department to remove criminals off of our streets and to keep law-abiding citizens in the district safe. Josh.
Thank you. The President weighed in on Jay Powell again today, you might have seen. He said that he's considering allowing a major lawsuit against Powell to proceed because of the more horrible and grossly incompetent job he has done. Can you tell us about that? What lawsuit is he talking about?
He's considering a lawsuit, and I won't speak on it any further. I will allow the President to do that himself.
Is it fair to say the administration is considering suing the Fed chair over this renovation?
That's what the President is saying.
Have discussions with anyone about this, or is this just how advanced is this right now?
At this moment in time, the President is considering a lawsuit against the Fed, and I will leave it to him to comment further on it. Tamara, go
We
ahead.
talked about yesterday. We talked about the NVIDIA chips deal the president is structuring as well, and the 15% stake will go to the government. Do you have any detail on how that came about? The president said he asked for 20% from NVIDIA. Did he make the same 20% ask to AMD, and or is this something the administration is looking to do with other either chips or products going forward? Is this a model that wants to build?
Well, look, right now it stands with these two companies. Perhaps it could expand in the future to other companies. I think it's a creative idea and solution. The legality of it, the mechanics of it is still being ironed out by the Department of Commerce, and I would defer you to them for any further details on how it will actually be implemented. But again, this was another idea of the president and his brain trust on his trade team to try to, get good deals for the American people and the American taxpayer.
Did you see the report that China is discouraging use of the H-20 to some companies, since it's reporting that overnight there was private data that said to companies not banning the chip but urging them to steer away from it? I wonder if you have any response to that.
I haven't read the report. I will, and we'll get you a comment on it. Tamara.
Thank you. Last week, the meeting with Putin was sort of described potentially as an opportunity for a deal. Now it's a feeling out. Has there been a shift in expectations within the White House or an effort to temper expectations about what success looks like in this meeting?
I mean, look, I think both can be true, right? The president has always said he wants a peace deal. He wants to see this war come to an end. But this bilateral meeting is a bilateral meeting between one party in this two-party war, right? You need both countries to agree to a deal. The president is accepting this bilateral meeting with Putin on Friday, and I will let him speak further to it after it concludes about how he felt it went.
Also, completely unrelated topic, regarding the president's efforts in Washington, D.C., do you have any specifics about how homeless people will be dealt with, where they would be moved to? What does this look like?
I do, yes, and it's an important question, so thank you for raising it. The Metropolitan Police Department, with the support of the new federal agencies who have been surging on the streets of the District of Columbia, are going to enforce the laws that are already on the books here in Washington, D.C. For far too long, these laws have been completely ignored, and the homelessness problem has ravaged the city. So D.C. Code 22-1307 and D.C. Municipal Regulation 24-100 give the Metropolitan Police Department the authority to take action when it comes to homeless encampments. So homeless individuals will be given the option to leave their encampment, to be taken to a homeless shelter, to be offered addiction or mental health services, and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time. Again, these are pre-existing laws that are already on the books. They have not been enforced, which is part of the reason for this federalizing of the National Guard to bring in this assistance for law enforcement. While we are targeting criminals and trying to remove criminals off of the streets, we also want to make DC safe and beautiful, and that involves removing mentally disturbed individuals in homeless encampments as well. So we will be using these regulations and code that already exists to clean up our streets, and we've already had great success. Not many of you picked up on this, but the United States Park Police has actually done remarkable work in terms of removing homeless encampments from the city. Since the president signed this executive order in March, 70 homeless encampments have been removed by the U.S. Park Police. There are only 2 homeless encampments remaining in D.C. federal parks under the National Park Service's jurisdiction, and the removal of those 2 remaining camps is scheduled for this week. So the U.S. Park Police will be leading this effort alongside MPD.
Just very quickly, he had talked in one of the social media posts about moving them very far outside of the city. Is that off?
No, it's not off. We're exploring how we could do that. But again, homeless shelters, offered addiction and mental health to FBI documents showing that a whistleblower who is a Democrat, a career intelligence officer who worked for Democrats on the House Intel Committee for more than a decade, repeatedly warned the FBI in 2017 that then Rep. Adam Schiff had approved leaking classified information to smear then President Donald Trump over the Russiagate scandal. This is obviously a bombshell whistleblower report. Hopefully more people in this room will cover it as such. And I have a quote from the FBI director for all of you. He has said this: "For years, certain officials used their positions to selectively leak classified information to shape political narratives. It was all done with one purpose: to weaponize intelligence and law enforcement for political gain. Those abuses eroded public trust in our institutions. The FBI will now lead the charge with our partners at DOJ, and Congress will have the chance to uncover how political power may have been weaponized and to restore accountability." That's what the administration is focused on, and hopefully we'll see some more media reports on this whistleblower allegation, if this were reversed, if this were allegations against the president or any of these cabinet officials, I'm sure everyone in this room would cover it as such. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. After yesterday's action to federalize the DC police, is the president still interested in working with Congress to end the Home Rule Act, something we talked about in the past? Senator Mike Lee has a bill on it, if that's something he's still interested in.
The president is very much still interested in working with Congress to address many of the issues that have plagued Washington, D.C., such as the cashless bail policy, which has been a complete disaster for the city. Juvenile delinquency is another major problem in the city that Congress can address. So I know Congress is on recess right now. When they get back to work to Washington, this president looks forward to having these conversations with our friends on Capitol Hill so we can work with them to make D.C. safe and beautiful again. And again, we encourage Democrats to join us in this effort. Perhaps their approval ratings would move up a little bit if they did. I saw a new poll today. Democrat approval rating is at an all-time low, 32%. If they could just stand by the basic notion of law and order, perhaps they would see that tick up a bit, and we welcome them to do that. Dasha.
Thanks, Caroline. President Trump yesterday at this podium indicated this, so as NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, that in order for peace to happen, it is very likely that Ukraine will have to cede some land to Russia. Zelensky has repeatedly said, no land for peace, that's not going to happen. Has this administration communicated to Zelensky that he's going to have to change that position?
Look, I appreciate your asking that question in a different way than your colleague Michael in the back. I don't want to get into the details of these negotiations and these discussions that have taken place out of respect for where we are right now, and I'll let the president speak on it further if he wishes to.
More about Israel. I know the president has had a call with Prime Minister Netanyahu recently. Netanyahu is planning to seize the remainder of Gaza City. What is the administration's position on this move by Israel's government?
Look, this is an incredibly complex and complicated war that, again, was inherited by this president, by his predecessor, Joe Biden. October 7th was one of the worst days in history. We saw innocent people slaughtered, murdered, kidnapped by Hamas terrorists. This administration has taken extensive time and effort and resources since Inauguration Day in January to end this conflict. We have given many flexible arrangements backed by Israel to Hamas, and unfortunately, Hamas has never agreed. Looking ahead, I will let the president speak on where he sees this going, but this is, of course, an incredibly complex and complicated situation. The administration has made our goal clear. We want to see this conflict end. We want to see the hostages released, and we've tried. The president and his national security team have given extensive effort and time to doing that.
Well, with how Israel has used those resources and the assistance that you've provided?
Look, I'll let the president speak on the further actions that Israel may or may not be taking. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Caroline. Thank you. The Kremlin is expressing interest that Friday's meeting will move beyond just terms to end the war into improving bilateral relations. There's talk over how they're interested in potentially restoring direct flights between Russia and the United States. Is President Trump open to those kind of peripheral conversations, or is this directly focused on ending the war in Ukraine?
I think this conversation on Friday is focused on ending the war in Ukraine as far as the president's perspective goes. Those conversations, I think the president is interested in having, but his main priority right now is ending this war and to stop the killing that has gone on for far too long. You're welcome. Caroline, in the back. Go ahead.
Yeah, two questions on the economy. So first, we've had small businesses tell us that it's not foreign exporters who are eating the tariffs, it's them. And they've held off on raising prices, but soon they're going to have to raise prices. What is the White House's message to them?
The White House's message to our small business owners across the country is you have never had a better ally or friend or supporter in this White House than President Donald Trump, who is a businessman himself, who understands your concerns and who wants to restore wealth back to our country through the powerful use of tariffs. And that's what he's focused on doing, while simultaneously driving down costs. You have to remember, we are 6 months into this administration, and we had a president who had no business experience, had no idea what he was doing, and who funneled billions of wasteful spending dollars into our economy, which created the worst inflation crisis in a generation. Now this president is focused on tackling inflation, deregulating, cutting costs, cutting red tape to make it easier for small business owners to thrive. And again, the economic indicators show that we are moving in the right direction. In January, when this president showed up to the White House, the 6-month annualized core inflation rate was 3.7%. Today, 6 months later, the 6-month annualized core inflation rate is 2.4%. So we are trending in the right direction. Moving forward, since President Trump took office, for another 6 months, inflation will be tracking at 1.9%. At this trajectory, you look at grocery prices, they fell, energy prices fell, fuel oil fell, ship fares fell, propane fell, butter, margarine, eggs, non-prescription drugs. You go through the list of items that are falling. And then I would also point to that report this morning showing that small business optimism has reached a 5-month high. So look, we inherited an economic mess from the previous administration, but this administration is focused on fixing it every day. And part of that is signing the largest tax cuts into law to put more money back into the pockets of these small business owners.
Just on the BLS, they collect the inflation data, obviously. If the jobs data is not reliable, should Americans trust the inflation data?
Well, look, the jobs data has had massive revisions. We want to ensure that all of the data, the inflation data, the jobs data, any data point that is coming out of the BLS is trustworthy and is accurate, which is why the president has restored new leadership at the BLS. Sure, go ahead. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So Gavin Newsom has said that California is going to sue in response to the government's demand for $1 billion from UCLA over the DOJ's anti-Semitism findings. Newsom has called this extortion and ransom, so I'm wondering what the White House's response is to Newsom on UCLA.
Bring it on, Gavin. This administration is well within its legal right to do this, and we want to ensure that our colleges and our universities are respecting the First Amendment rights and the religious liberties of student campuses, and UCLA has failed to do that. And I have a whole list of examples that I will forward to Gavin Newsom's press office if he hasn't seen them himself. Brett.
Thanks, Caroline. What was the reason that President Trump chose to move on from Billy Long as IRS commissioner?
Look, I think the president wants to see Billy Long as the ambassador to Iceland. As you know, that is where he will be headed. And the president loves Billy Long, and he thinks that he can serve the administration well in this position. For now, Secretary Scott Besson will be the acting IRS commissioner.
Timeline for announcing a new pick?
Thank you.
Oh, Ed, go ahead, but
wait,
then in the back, yes.
Go in the back first.
Okay, sure.
Thanks, Caroline.
Please.
One foreign policy and then one domestic question, if I may. There are roughly 30,000 children from Ukraine who have reportedly been abducted and are kind of dispersed around Russia. They've been showing up on these websites for adoption. Is their return a red line for the president in any deal ending the war?
The administration is aware of these reports. I don't want to set red lines for the president on his behalf from this podium. However, the president did encourage Ukraine and Russia to speak directly to one another in terms of these humanitarian issues, and we have seen progress. You have seen prisoners of war swapped between these two countries as a result of these direct talks, as well as children, and that remains a concern, but it's one that Russia and Ukraine need to iron out together, which is why this president has encouraged them to speak.
Sure. The DC action real quick. The president said yesterday that this is a model federalizing the National Guard that could be used to combat really high rates of crime in other cities like Chicago, LA, Baltimore. What sort of authority would he have to deploy forces like that, absent the Home Rule Act?
Look, the president is speaking about what he'd like to see take place in other cities around the country. Right now, this administration is focused on making DC safe and beautiful again. When the time comes, we'll talk about that. But I will note that the president wants to see all of our nation's cities be safe. But I think starting with our nation's capital is a great place to begin, and it should serve as a model for the rest of the country.
Just to bite up a few of the DC things, because a lot of them have been asked, but in talking with Congress about potential changes to the home rule and whatever else, would he also push the House to finally pass DC's budget so that it has access to all that money that it does need for policing, for schools, and for other services here in the city?
Yes, and as you know, he has done that. He put out a statement calling on the House to take up the Senate's legislation, and he stands by that position.
Let me take you back to something from last month. You guys announced the president was diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency after his legs were seen swelling. How's he being treated for that? And while you were upfront about those health issues, curious if the White House would be willing to let us speak with his physician directly about those health issues? I know there were a lot of concerns about the last White House not making the physician available. Would the physician be available in this case?
I don't want to make that commitment on behalf of the physician, but it's certainly something we can look into and explore out of the effort of transparency, because unlike the previous White House, there's nothing to hide. You guys see this president working around the clock, literally 24/7, all of the time, and I will be happy to look into that request.
Can we at least get an update on how he's being treated for the swelling legs and for the hands and the other issues?
Look, you see the president every day. He's moving, he's working, he's continuing. There have been no adjustments made to his lifestyle.
Hey, Karoline, I have two questions, one on DC, but on the Putin meeting on Friday, does the president plan to meet with Putin one-on-one?
Yes, that's part of the plan. And as for the other mechanics and logistics, I will let our team speak to that when they're ironed out.
And on what's happening in DC with the federal takeover, what we've heard from the mayor and the police chief is that their understanding is there has been no change in the leadership structure. In the White House's view, who is in charge of the MPD right now?
If you read the executive order, it will tell you the leadership structure is as follows. We plan to work with the Metropolitan Police Department, but ultimately the chain of command is as such. The President of the United States, the Attorney General of the United States, our DEA Administrator, Terry Cole, who is now serving ahead of the Chief of the Metropolitan Police Department. And they will be working together. Note, Terry Cole, as you heard from this briefing room yesterday, is in charge of the Metropolitan Police Department, and he's working with the Chief to ensure that law enforcement officers are allowed to do their jobs in this city.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. I know you said earlier the hope is to maintain monthly job reports, but the president's new nominee for BLS Commissioner E.J. Antoni recently told Fox Business that the BLS should suspend issuing monthly job reports and only issue quarterly reports until the jobs data methodology is corrected. So does the president disagree with that assessment that his nominee has said there, or suspending these monthly job reports a real option?
I think he floated the idea of possibly suspending until they can get the data and the methodology in order. And this president wants to ensure that the BLS, again, is putting out accurate and honest data that the American people can trust. Since you brought up the new commissioner, he holds a master's and doctor's degree in economics from Northern Illinois University. He's the chief economist in the Heritage Foundation's Center for the Federal Budget. And in addition to his work at Heritage, he has multiple other roles. He's been widely renowned for his work on economic issues. He's been called before Congress to testify as an economic expert. So he's a qualified individual, and the president trusts him to lead this important department. I think I covered more questions. Sure, go ahead.
Given that the administration now has jurisdiction over MPD, can we expect, does that mean like personnel changes, hiring, firing? Can we expect leadership changes internally in the Metropolitan Police
Well,
Department?
I just walked through what the leadership structure looks like right now.
Within the uniform police department, right? I mean, does that mean that the Attorney General, others kind of have the ability to make those personnel decisions?
I would imagine it means they have the ability. As for any changes, I'm not tracking any. Again, we look forward to working alongside the Metropolitan Police Department, and we did that last night successfully, and we hope we can do that for the next 29 nights. Go ahead. Yes.
A lot of reports that ICE agents detained a 15-year-old student with disabilities outside an LA high school, even leaving bullets on the sidewalk. How does the Trump administration plan to ensure parents that their children can return to school without fear of being wrongfully detained or endangered by federal agents?
Where did you see that report?
LA Times.
Okay, well, I'll have to look into the veracity of that report. I read the LA Times almost every single day, and they are notorious for misleading the public. I'm sure there's more to that story than the way that you just characterized it. This administration wants to ensure that all school children across the country and every city from Los Angeles to DC can go to school safely. And that's part of this administration's effort to federalize the National Guard in Washington, to ensure that ICE is removing child predators. I just read you a list of a handful, just a handful, of the hundreds of thousands of child predators that this administration is removing off of the streets of Los Angeles and every other community across this country. Because we want to ensure this is a country where American school children can be safe, where they can prosper, and where they are not threatened by violent criminals, whether they are illegal or whether they are American citizen homegrown criminals, as this president calls them. So I will gladly go check on that report, and I'll get you the facts. Thank you.
Karoline.
Oh, that's it. Wow, that was a lot. She covered a lot. I don't know, you guys. What's the grade you give President Trump from a A to a F? How are we grading him on this chat? Do you think that he's doing a great job? I guess that would be an A. Or you're dissatisfied with his leadership? F, 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 liar. What's that? One.
It's a lot of different
One.
things.
A, T, F, 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 A plus, Z, F, A. I can't see this. What's that they're putting up? A one, a F, F, C, F, 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 a B, a Z. Wait a minute. Let them see. A plus, F minus F, B plus, A, B, F, F, A. Indoor. Hey, indoor. A plus, a B, a F, F. Well, you know what? When we look at it, it looks like most people on this chat feel like he's not doing a great job. Matter of fact, it looks like we're saying that he's doing a horrible job. Epstein. Okay, that's gonna come on.
What did they give Joe Biden?
Okay, F. They still giving F-E, F. Yeah, it seems like the majority of the people on here believes that he's doing a horrible job to get an F. So what grade do you guys give the former President Biden? Now, the grades right now is for President Biden. What grade do you give President Biden?
Yeah, what do you give Joe Biden, guys?
Okay, so a F, a B for Biden, B, a C, a F, hey, D,
Look at this. See?
B,
Come on.
F. Well, he's getting back B, F, B, F, A plus,
After everything,
a C.
Joe
It's some
Biden
C's
has
and
done to
B's,
this country.
A's. There are some F's for Joe Biden. It's just amazing that because these two administrations are night and day.
Yeah.
They're night and day. You had a president, the former president spent 40% of his presidency on the beach. They're still giving him grades. On the beach, he was not active. He had open borders. He was behind 2 wars, high inflation, interest rates, 350,000 kids missing, fentanyl, Trinidad Raga in our country, MS-13 in our country. He was giving $40 million cash payment per week to, who was he giving to? Afghanistan, I believe. Oh no, to the Taliban. It's probably cash payments. I mean, all these things were going on. It's just so amazing that what he did to destroy the country, that he appears to be more a favorable administration, according to the people that are on the chat, even though that she said that an auto pen was used. He pardoned his entire family, and he pardoned his son for 10 years of whatever criminal acts that had partaken under his administration, his prior administration. So it's just amazing that there's more negativity towards President Trump versus Joe Biden's administration, which I feel that if Trump didn't come into office, that this country would be non-existent. We were a dire aspiring fast, and then they don't know business. They didn't know how to conduct business. They didn't make any deals. They didn't bring in any jobs. They didn't do anything for the American people, and their entire agenda were about legalizing illegal immigration. That's the entire agenda, and that's a continuation. Presently, is the agenda is legalizing illegal immigrants. So it's just amazing, like the mindset. Even though the Democratic Party has had the lowest approval rating in history of polling. They have never polled as low as they have. So I don't know. What could President Trump do that you would be in agreement with? Releasing the Epstein files? Epstein files. Because that seems to be the only thing. Trump-Stein file, okay. Trump/Epstein file.
That's
Epstein
right there.
files.
He said nothing, lady.
Nothing, lady.
See,
He's a predator.
They want to hate.
Yeah, who do you think? Do you believe that Kamala Harris would have been a better president than the current president? That she would have been able or had the capacity to end the Ukraine war? That she could have ended the war between India and Pakistan, or the war between the Congo and Rwanda, and the war that he just ended with the presidents that came and met with him recently at the White House. One was from Armenia, and I forget the other country, but they were forming Soviet citizens or leaders that were at the White House, and they said that their war has been going on for 30 years, and without Trump, it wouldn't have been able to been stopped. So you think that Kamala would have been a better president, that she would have done a better job, that she would have closed borders when she was already the border czar? Oh, it was 35 years. Yeah. She was already the border czar. So it's hard to believe that she would have been great for the border. What was it? Armenia and Azerbaijan? How you say pronounce the other country? Azerbaijan? Azerbaijan, or something, Azerbaijan. So I don't get it. Like, what the only other choice we had was Kamala Harris and Tampon Tim. Thank you, Daniel. So I don't know, between the choices and what President Trump has done, and like we said, that we're not like one-sided. We know that we're well aware that there are Democrats on here, non-voters, Republicans, and people from around the world. And we're going to call out what we feel as though is right, what we feel as though is wrong. But to be honest, the majority of the last 6 or 7 months that Trump has been in office, he's made a tremendous difference in this country. He's working day and night. He's transparent. He doesn't select different reporters to speak to the public. He doesn't use a script, a teleprompter. All of them speak to us genuinely, his whole administration. Now, whether anyone is lying, we always can fact check. And we need to fact check, because everything he said isn't true versus everything Biden said wasn't true. But that's why we have ways that we can find out the truth. And I think that we all need to do our own research and not really go by what the media says. Just like when Trump held up, he said it was a crime rate or whatever in Washington. He didn't hold up other cities. He held up and demonstrated other countries. No, this is the United States of America. I felt as though that he should have shown the comparisons to crime in other states and did that comparison versus other countries. So some of the stuff is being, kind of, we want everything to be on the top. We don't want any misleading information. But I feel as though that he wants Washington to be beautiful, just like he says. He wants it to be admired. He wants to be proud when people come into our country, because when he traveled, and I think Saudi Arabia really hit him hard, when he saw how elegant, how magnificent those palaces were, and how he was escorted by jets, and how they greeted him. And then he goes back to Washington, and everything is old, run down, outdated. And he don't want to say the homeless camps, but you can't take and move homeless Americans, if those are Americans, and just locate them somewhere and throw them away. I want them taken care of the same way we're taking care of the 14 plus million legal immigrants that were homeless that came into our country, providing them those luxury apartments, Medicare, Medicaid, mental health assistance, SNAP. I want them to have the same freaking benefits.
Livingston, we're not going to stop talking about Joe Biden because of all that he's done to this country.
We have to do the comparison.
It's going to take years to undo what Joe Biden has done if it ever gets all fixed. We have to talk about Joe Biden because what this dude has done to this country.
Trump has been the cleanup president.
Yeah.
He's trying to undo everything that was done to this country in lightning speed. And the reason that he has to, because his time is short. I don't think we're going to have another president like President Trump that knows how to make deals, that knows how to twist, twist that knife in them, for lack of a better word, to get results. He knows how to, what to say behind closed doors. We see President Trump, but we don't know President Trump when he talks to those world leaders behind closed doors. He is a freaking boss. He's a boss. And they know he's powerful. He's a powerful boss. He's probably the most powerful man in the world because he's the president of the United States of America. And he knows how to get them to stop their wars, to be fair to America. He knows what to do. And I don't know if anybody coming into office behind him will have that same capabilities or will receive the same respect from the world as Trump is receiving from around the world. So we have to give credit where credit is due, is that they didn't respect us. They took advantage of us, the rest of the world. While we have 170 countries that we're paying tariffs to, and we're overpaying, and we're paying more than everyone else for prescription drugs, we're doing the most. And we allowed this to happen till we now are $36 trillion in debt. So we could not have continued in this debt without something being done.
What respect? Look at how Vladimir Putin talks about Trump. Look what Vladimir Putin, a world leader, has to say about Trump.
And China.
That's called respect. And China.
And Kim On-you or whatever from North Korea. No other president has even entered North Korea. I think Trump might have been the only president and have been there since. Nobody else. They respect him. And people treat you differently when they respect you. When people don't respect you, then they act out. Just like people that come into our countries, they don't respect America. That's why they burn our flags, throw rocks at our policemen, and don't want to follow our laws and feel like they're entitled to more than American citizens, because that's what the Democrats have allowed them to believe, that they are prioritized over American citizens. My only problem right now is that what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, it has to be resolved, because if it continues, it can drag us into a bigger war. It can. That one country, small country, for a small strip of land could cause the whole world to go into World War III. And everyone's going to lose at that point. So it needs to be resolved. And I believe that he's doing right not having Zelensky sit at the table, because he's a little chihuahua. And he doesn't know how to sit at the big boys' table and be diplomatic. You can't go there saying, like, you're not the big kid, on campus. You can't make the demands because you don't have you don't have the power. Like Trump said, the only thing that make you big is us, America. So he doesn't know how to be diplomatic. So Trump is testing the temperature of Putin. Having him come to the United States and meet with him is great, because that's opened up a door of communication, something that they didn't do, the previous administration and Zelensky. They were just having this endless war and just giving them more money, and then they want bodies. When they're running out of bodies, that became more important than money. So it needs to be an end to this endless wars, and some concessions are going to have to be made. Russia's going to have to give up stuff, and so is, unfortunately, Ukraine. But why lose the whole country? Why you want 60-year-old men taken off the street to fight in your war? That means you don't even have the manpower at this point. So at this point, I think it's great that Trump is a mediator, because Putin doesn't respect Zelensky. Zelensky's not big enough to talk to Putin. He's an actor. He's not big enough, and Putin doesn't respect him. He don't respect president that was a former actor that was wearing high heels, shaking his ass. He don't respect him. He's not a man's man, and he doesn't really know what it is to be a world leader, because he's not a world leader. He has a country that's crying out and want the war to end at the end of the day. We have 240,000 Ukrainians living here in the United States that we've been taking care of. They've been on our Social Security, getting SNAP and our benefits that are here, let alone the hundreds of billions of dollars that we have sent to the country. So it is costly while we neglect our own homeless and our American people. It's like we are not prioritized like we should be because we are busy handling the world's problems. So I'll be happy if this can be some sort of agreement.
Our whole family's a military family. So nice
Yeah, my
try.
son
Yeah.
serves in the military, and my daughter-in-law. Okay.
And uncle.
Oh, uncle's my cousin, but I'm talking about even one of my children is
Yeah.
serving right now. Okay, so let's be clear with that. So it's important to bring this to an end because it can escalate. It only takes one little situation for this to escalate, that you cry about a little strip of land, then you wind up with no land. And everybody else wind up blown up. And nuclear bombs set off that's traveling the world, eating your flesh. So, it's not a good thing.
If this meeting goes well, Trump for Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, that's hands down.
Hands down.
But this has been the most difficult because it has gone on too long.
Yeah.
See, this should have been brought to the table before it got started, which they did. They sent Kamala, but they wanted the war. Wars. They like wars because it's about money. You make a lot of money off of wars, so they wanted the war per se.
Just like they wanted the illegals here.
Yeah, like they wanted the illegals here. Why in the world? But for the votes to retain power.
Yeah.
So why in the world would you allow the war to happen? But you want to send money, but you never Biden wouldn't even take a phone call from Putin or talk to Putin and Zelensky to bring them together. That's not a world leader. A leader brings them together and you resolve problems. Leaders resolve problems. They're here leaders is here to serve. They serve the people. So hopefully we're going to be streaming it. We're going to get all the information. You guys, don't be forgetting to hit the like, share, and subscribe. We should have more likes up here. We at least should have 100 because we know we'll be having thousands of people.
Thanks for watching to the core. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate people who like our content to come back. But we want to be honest, and that's what we're going to do. What does the poll say?
The poll says, should Trump include Zelensky in his meeting with Putin? Over 1,000 votes. 70% said yes and 30% said no.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. 70% of you guys aren't thinking. He will be included in the future meetings, but Trump has to bring him to the table to check the temperature out, to see what concessions will Putin make. You can't have that little chihuahua at the table acting like a little kid, and he's not going to listen because he's already acting like Trump don't know him, or he don't know. He know more about him than you because you never even met him. Zelensky, you never even talked to him.
Look at how he argued with Trump and J.D. Vance.
Yo, that was a setup. The Democrats wanted him to be in the Oval Office, setting up. It's about like we're going to fight. Oh, we're going to fight his war. That's how brazen this dude is. But you can't have someone that doesn't know how to be diplomatic and talk to the most powerful men in the world. That's Trump and Putin.
Yeah.
They're the most powerful men in the world. Zelensky is at the little kid's table. He's at the little kid's table. You can't have him there like he the big dog and he gonna say what he's gonna do, what he's not gonna do. It doesn't work like that. So Trump is gonna find out whatever he can make a deal, whatever, and he's gonna take it back to Zelensky and to the EU, and then they're gonna discuss it, and then they're gonna say what they will agree to, and then he's gonna take it back to Putin. That's what mediators do. And then they're going to come together and sit down.
Jack, you got to listen to what she's saying. He could be involved in future meetings, but not the first meetup.
He can't be at the first because he is not equipped to be in a... He's not... These are the two most powerful men in the world. Trump, this is not his war. He's trying... He had every ability, since he that guy, to set up his own damn meeting. He should have set up a meeting himself then, if he could. Because we know EU couldn't. Nobody you could set up a meeting with Putin. They had to wait for Trump to get reelected for people to even think about coming to the table because Trump said so. They didn't even talk. So all that talking and all of that, they had every opportunity. So Trump could talk to them and they can't. And now they got something to say. They got to let the big dogs talk. The two world leaders. That's how the world operates. Even if you have a business, you don't sit with your subordinates. You sit with the people on your level, your peers. They're in the room.
Yeah.
They make the decisions for the company or your executives, not the workers.
Yeah, like Joe said also, Zelensky is a loose cannon himself.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon.
He needs to be negotiated for, or this madness will continue.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon, and he shows it every time he opens up his mouth. This is too serious, and he's not looking at the welfare of his people. You can replace land, you could get, whatever, but you can't replace life. People are losing their lives, and this is a continuation. You're trying to save land, but you could lose more land as this war continues. People could say, forget all that, I could just take it all. He's the second most powerful man in the world. I could just take it all. Then he got the third power behind him, which is China. He don't even have to do all this if he don't. Keep thinking he weak for real. He's not weak. He's not weak. He got a lot of power behind him that Zelensky doesn't have. But you can't have a high-headed, someone who's never negotiated anything, an emotional, sensitive man in the room. And he think, oh, you don't know, Trump knows more about Putin than he does. He's actually met him, talked to him, know him, can call him. Zelensky has no communication with this man. He doesn't know this man at all. At all. And he wants to tell Trump, oh, he don't know about him. Like, he's so more freaking knowing. Zelensky's don't know shit.
What it is Zelensky's trying to stay in power.
He just wants to stay in power.
Yeah. More war, more time in
more
office.
Yeah, he knows if they come to agreement, then they can vote in a new election, and then the people be able to talk what they actually have the experience with him being president. Some stuff be leaking out that he's a dictator in his country, that he shuts down the media, that he arrests them, that he does all kinds of stuff to the people, the kidnapping people off the street. It's a lot of stuff that's not being given to the media that knows what's going on in his country. That's why they calling him a freaking dictator. He loves the power. It's like when people get power and money, that's everything. They don't want to let go of it. He likes being in world meetings and sitting with world leaders, and he's the center of attention. He's the center of attention. But we don't need him in this first meeting because he would be a freaking distraction. Everything would cave. He's not going to agree upon anything. They won't even be able to talk. He'd be pouting with his hands folded and all this. No, he's not mature enough to sit in that room and conduct himself like a leader of Ukraine, because that's why the big dogs got to come in the room. That's why Trump is in the room. And it's not even his responsibility. How about that? Because the other alternative is let them keep fighting it out. Because without Trump, they're not even coming to the table.
This is Joe Biden.
Yeah, this is not Trump's war. The alternative, if people got a problem and Trump can stand down, let Zelensky handle Putin and the EU. Let them handle it. Because they were allowing this stuff to go on, and the longer you allow the situation to go on, the more empowered the aggressor feels. Putin is the aggressor. That made him more empowered because he see what he can do, what he can't do, what he can take. So Trump is going to go. He going to feel like he said in 2 minutes. He'll know how it's going to go within 2 minutes.
Yeah, he'll feel the temperature.
He'll feel the temperature, and he can't feel it. The temperature with a little chihuahua in there. They talk about he don't know Putin. No, he know more about Putin than this man ever will. He never even met this man. He don't know this man.
Zelensky would be there to argue with Putin.
He would be there to argue, and nothing would be accomplished.
Yeah.
No, he don't. He will have his time to meet. But this is, and Trump said people have tried to talk way before he's getting involved. They have plenty of time to talk. If he can talk to Putin, let him talk to Putin. Let the EU, let them talk to Putin. This is not Trump's problem. But he's going in there, and this way he can come back, and they can actually hear where Putin temperature is at. And he can actually tell them what's going on and what he will agree to. And then he can take it back to them. And that's how you do, then you start negotiating. But it has to start there. You can't start with a hot-headed chihuahua in the room that's not going to listen, that's not going to concede, that's not trying to resolve, that just want to complain and tell you what he's not going to do, what he's not going to do. Something, he has to do something. He's going to have to do something if he wants this war to end. They both are going to have to make concessions. So anyway, we can't wait to do that live, and we're going to see what's going to come out of it. And Zelensky's going to be called after the meeting in EU, and then they'll set up a meeting if Putin is willing with Putin, Zelensky, and maybe some other world leader or whatever. But he will be added. But this is Trump, and because he's that dude, and Putin, who are the two world leaders.
Wow. They said that the Prince of Saudi Arabia called President Donald Trump the president of the world.
Yeah, he pretty much is.
Yeah.
That's how he's operating as the president of the world, and that is the truth. That's the truth. They're calling him to solve all these wars and problems in the country. Y'all better be praying up, because this is like the last days of me. When they say be rumors of war, we'll have peace. They said it'll be a peace treaty for 7 years and it'll be broken in 3.5 years. It looked to me like Jesus is coming back, to be honest. So I'm watching.
5D said Ukrainians would rather die than be enslaved again.
They have died.
Do we want to leave them in that situation when we can help?
We can't help. It's an endless war. We can't help. So you're talking about the world to die. That's the other alternative. That's the other alternative. They are dying. They're getting senior citizens now to go and fight the war. So it don't stop with Russia and Ukraine. Then you're going to add, you know, that China is Russia's ally.
World War III.
And, you know, North Korea is too. And what is it? The United States, Ukraine ain't nothing. What are they going to do? And the EU? That is just, then everybody, it won't be about them dying. It'll be about everybody dying. And right now, Trump, his goal is he don't like all the dying. That's why he's involved. He doesn't like the fact that these people are losing their lives over this endless war, and nobody has tried to communicate with each party. Like, to end the war, there's going to have to be made, agreements are going to have to be made. And some that Zelensky's not going to like and Putin's not going to like. But that's the only way it's going to come to an end. That's it. You talking about them? What we going? You want us to go and fight? That's what he said. Well, oh, y'all big power. He's like, y'all go fight. No, yeah, we gonna go over there now. America and die for Zelensky.
Someone said Ukraine is winning.
Yeah, keep on, y'all winning. For Trump, stand down. They winning. Let them go on and keep believing that hype. Yeah, y'all keep believing that. They trying to get 60-year-old men and older off the streets now and say they winning. Okay, y'all got that. Y'all can stay in that delusion, because nobody is winning this war. No, Putin is losing, and Ukraine and Zelensky is losing. They both are losing. Nobody is winning. Nobody is winning. Only thing that's going to happen is more loss of life and more land taken. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, Ukraine is a flatland, right?
Yeah, so the only thing that, because Trump said can stop a bullet is a body. Yeah. Now they're trying to get senior citizens to go out there. Then I guess they're going to send the women. They already, so y'all keep on going like this. Keep on going like this. Because we're not going over there to fight Ukraine's war. We're not fighting the war, because it's an endless war. Then China, they have 1 billion people. 1 billion. How many people we got? Like 382 million in the United States. They got 1 billion people. They could keep sending and sending and sending and sending people. We don't even have enough people in the United States. No. That's not our war. It's not our war. But What our president is trying to do is bring an end to it. And that's what y'all should be rejoicing about, that anybody on here from Ukraine or any other parts or people that's in agreement with what's happening, they don't like what's happening in Ukraine, y'all should want this war to end. And for the war to end, there's going to be different agreements that's going to have to be made by both Russia and Ukraine. Yeah. And neither one are probably going to like it. But if you care about the people, or the other alternative is continue to fight till more land is lost and you have no people to fight for. Yeah. There's no more young men now. They got rid of all the young men. There's no more young men. You're just going to have women and older women there, and perhaps maybe some children. Yeah. You're wiping out all the men. Yeah. So
American hospitals are closing because they're filled with illegals now.
Yeah. It's been on our health care. But anyway, you guys, it's a lot to look at, but we are going to be bringing it, you know, what's going on. We might come back over because we want to, like, do both sides, not just the Republican side, because that's the side that we are totally leaning for. And just to, so that this channel is not just one-sided. You know, we like hearing both sides because you have to come together to resolve things. Just like what Putin and Trump is doing. They're meeting, trying to find an agreement that they could take back, a resolution that they can take back to Zelensky and to the EU, and then they can see if any type of, you know, just stopping the agreement. Yeah, the agreement. If they can somehow stop this war. That's what this is about. This Trump is not meeting here to say, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" He's trying to find. Yeah, he's trying to end this war.
Right. I personally feel like Zelensky's going to disagree with everything.
He's going to disagree with everything. He's already doing that. Yeah. He's going to disagree with everything, and if he disagrees with everything, the result is the war is not going to end. People are still going to die. We'll tap out. You're not getting more money from us. I guess UK or different places, you know, overseas, I guess they're going to send their people to die for Ukraine. And China's already going to send their people. They're already sending their people. So
hopefully Trump can get them both together, like the two leaders.
That's the goal.
Shake hands and
come up with some agreement. But as long as you have this leader who doesn't want to give up power, that's willing to have the last man standing, that there'll be no men left in Ukraine except for him.
One-man army.
A one-man army. And that land he was trying to protect, there will be no people left to enjoy any of the land. There will be no people. You'll have the land, but you won't have any people. You'll have numbered graves. That I don't think that's the way that they should go. So he's not ready to make any type of agreement. I believe no matter what they say, he's going to say no. Yeah. He's going to say no. And Trump said if they can't come to an agreement, he's going to throw his hands up. It's not our war, and let them just go at it. And Putin is going to take more of their land, and they're going to wipe them out.
Yeah, and like the person said in the chat room, you gotta respect it because Trump is trying.
He's trying.
He's trying.
It's not his fault. Yeah. It's not his problem. He's trying. And that's all the world can ask. He's bringing the man to the table. The man is actually even coming to the United States of America. Come on now, y'all. And he's going to sit with him. And he's going to, you know, see what type of deal can be made. He already knows what Zelensky will agree with and what they don't want and what they will. But Zelensky is going to have to agree on some of the things that's going to be offered. And because he wants that power and because he loves being president, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it because it's always about power in the Benjamins. He's not in agreement. He's already in a disagreement with whatever said, even now. Whatever they say, he's in a completely disagreement. And you have Putin, on the other hand, is saying that he will, you know, give up different land, that he will, whatever, make some kind of, you know, concessions. And Zelensky is unwilling, and he's going to drag this out until the last man standing. I don't think he's going to agree upon anything unless they shut down all the money from EU, United States, all the help. They're going to shut it all down for him to agree upon anything. But if the UK or any other, place overseas, if they agree to send their people, then they're just going to go there to die. They're just going to send them to die, because what he wants now are more bodies. It's not money. He wants bodies.
Weren't they recently boycotting Zelensky or protesting him?
They were protesting him. The people don't want a war. They want the war to end. The people in Ukraine wants the war to end. They want the war to end, and all of us should want the war to end.
I don't know what's wrong with Erdogan. It's like he doesn't want the war to end.
Well, if someone doesn't want the war to end, it's because they're not over there fighting in that war. They're not seeing the suffering. They're not experiencing the fear and what those soldiers are being made to do. These are not people that volunteer to be in the military. So a lot of those people are kidnapped, and they have them out there until they die.
And their family.
They don't get to come back home like they serve and go home. No, they're out there until they die. It's not our war. And God bless Trump for trying to stop it. And that's all we can ask. And if Zelensky and Putin can't come to agreement, then they're going to battle it out. But our president is trying, and that's all he can do. But he's smart. You can't bring this hothead to the meeting, because everything that's said he's going to be, everything said he's going to be in a disagreement. He's not going to be able to sit there to listen. Yeah. He's going to cause too much distraction and headache. He's not going to hear everything out. He's not ready to be included. And he could have let him have his own meeting then. So he think he know Putin. Call him up. Call Putin up. Set up a meeting. Anybody from around the world other than Trump, y'all set up the meeting.
If something else, he would make it all about himself too.
Yeah. Yeah, if Trump didn't care, he wouldn't be doing it. He don't have to. We got our own problems here. I don't like a lot of stuff that's going on in the United States of America. And you ain't hear me push back on different things. Just like taking children that's 14 and saying they don't rehabilitate them and lock them away for a long time. To me, that's just code for giving them life sentences no matter what they do. No. Children can be rehabilitated. Like adults, that's different. But don't target it black kids. Don't target black Americans.
What's that judge
name? Judge Jeannie Pirro or something like that.
Huge on that.
Yeah, but they won't target other ethnicity. Don't do that. Yeah. We're Americans. Don't do that. I got a problem with that, because there's when you got intelligent people, and people know what's going on in communities. And the worst thing about what happened is that when those young kids, they weren't going after this former Doge employee. He interacted because I think they was trying to carjack, with the story I heard, some other people, or some other labor. What he should have done, let the police handle it. Call 911. Don't put yourself involved or in harm. You call 911. But when he saw that, he don't label all the children. Don't say all the children beyond rehabilitation.
Saying thugs.
And calling them thugs. That's code for the N-word. Don't do that.
Yeah.
When black people are not leading in committing crimes in this country, that's the problem. No, rehabilitate. Let those same kids know that get their education. Black men need to get involved, mentor these children, and show them the way to go. Because we all have the same abilities. We all can take advantage of what's being offered. But when you're in impoverished neighborhoods and your examples are the people in front of you who don't focus on education and pulling themselves up by getting jobs and things like that, this is what their examples are. This is the result. Everyone knows that. But children can be rehabilitated. Get them on the right track. Get them involved. Y'all want to get involved in crime and get them involved in the military. Join ROTC and fight for this country. They'd be your best freaking soldiers. Let them be. They could be honorable. Don't put them in jail and saying children can't be. I think that's going too far when you target us, because you sound like Biden's 1994 crime bill, when he wanted mass incarceration and they're beyond the pale, beyond rehabilitation. That's a lie from hell. Don't do the children like that. And don't blame because a few did something awful. What they did was awful. It was wrong. There are no excuses. But don't blame all the children. Because they get arrested because they try to steal a candy bar, but you want to give them a life sentence. Things like that really happens to black people.
It's like that judge is looking away to give
children
max sentences.
She said she want to give them max sentences, and Trump was saying lock them away for a long time. That means, no, lock them away for life. Children. Now, when you talk about adults 18 over, I'm talking about the kids. Don't do that. You're not going to do that to white kids. They're not talking about the guy that they talking about how unsafe Washington is. Well, what about the guy that just stabbed 11 people in a where was they at? Walmart or somewhere. He stabbed 11 people. Where's the news on that? One, I think, in the eye. He tried to kill 11 people. What about the CD? Yeah, the black guy stopped it. They didn't even give the black guy credit that he was a former military guy. He could have took him down. They probably would have killed him for taking out the guy. But, I mean, it's crime going on everywhere. The CDC, they did a black cop just lost his life. And the first thing they always say, oh, the shooter, he had mental illness. It's always mental illness when it's white people. But what about we got mental illness? We got mental illness as well. But we supposed to feel sorry for them, but you don't want to get the same concessions. God, we are the human race, whether you want to realize that we're the human race. And we all have capabilities of achieving the same things. But opportunity and environment means everything. When I been bringing up my kids, my goal was education. It was instilled in me because that's how my family, education. All my children went to Christian private school because I believe in a biblical foundation. I paid, you know how much money it costs to go to a private school? I paid for I have 3 kids, all of their private school education because that was the most important. Not a house, not any of that. It was their education that was important to me. And our environment had to be conducive. We never lived in downtrodden ghetto, whatever. That, thank God. But no one in my family has extended family, all of us. But that was important to me. And I have my oldest, he has 2 degrees. He's in the military. My daughter is the next big name out there in politics. I'm not going to tell you who she is, but my daughter is hands down phenomenal. She has her master's or whatever and working on other degrees. This one is in college. I have my degrees. All of us have our degrees and everything, but train but child in ways you go should not depart. But the most important thing, ever since they were infants, I would take them to church and I would have sleeping bags and do all-night prayers and foot washings and just growing closer to God, doing shut-ins. I raised them in the house of God. And I wanted them to make sure that when they go out in the world, they'll have their biblical foundations. Everyone doesn't do that. My house wasn't first. I owned a single home, but that wasn't my first. My first, everything was always about their education. It wasn't about clothes or me wearing designers and all that. I came last when it came to my children.
Thanks to Mr. Busky.
You know, so you got to train your children up right. And all kids learn. My kids had an advantage. And they went to school in areas where they're not just with one race. You know, that's why people don't know how to communicate, because black communities grow up with all black kids, some white communities grow up with all white kids, but then they don't know how to interact because they think they're different. They don't understand we all like the same thing. We all love the same music. We love food. We love to eat. We love our families. We love going on vacations. You know, we love the same things. We're just in different environments. And that's it. So it matters. So when she talks like that, like I forget the saying of Dr. Martin Luther King, the worst thing we can do, what was that saying, is like when we don't speak up about things, our silence, it would cause the bigger problems. And we're not going back to 1994. We're moving forward in 2025. And I will fight for our children because they are American children. They're American children. They're American children. Don't give up on our generations. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do stuff. Don't give up on our kids, because we all have to do well. We all. There's nobody smarter than the other. All of it is your foundation. My kids are bright because they have a great foundation. It's your foundation. But we all can learn. And these black men, they need to stand up, go out there, and mentor those kids. Don't give those kids over to this government. Because when they go out there, the National Guards and these different, and the FBI that's patrolling the street, they're targeting black kids. They're targeting black people. They could just be going over their friend's house. They're going to be targeted. And that's what I don't like, because they're American citizens. And if we didn't call them on other things that happen at the Capitol, then don't do that to the kids. Give the kids, like everybody else, we don't want crime. We don't want crime. Nobody does. But we don't lead in crime. We're disproportionately over, we're arrested more, but we're not committing more. But that's how it is in America. Stop making it like all black. This is not black people of 30 years ago. We are productive. We are movers and shakers. We are entrepreneurs, politicians, dietitians, engineers, doctors, lawyers, business owners, architects, you name it. We do. Musicians, athletes, we multi-millionaires, build multi-billionaires. That's who we are. That's what I say. Yeah, we're everything you can think of. We're everything you can think of. We're teachers. We're professors. We're some of the brightest people in the world.
So Bernard is asking for clarification when Trump said black jobs. I don't know.
The clarification for black jobs, what he's saying is that when the illegal immigrants came into this country, then the black job employment went down. And it went down because, unfortunately, a lot of because of mass incarceration of black men, they're over sentenced and they're put into these prisons. And you have a lot of unjust judges out here. And when they come out and they have the records, they can't get other jobs. So a lot of them do go into the construction jobs, the landscaping, the hospital. They get those type of jobs, which then when the immigrants came in, that's who's doing your landscaping. All the landscaping companies that's even around, they even they have companies, and they're legally here, and they got companies now for landscaping. They're building all your high rises and your houses and your homes and your schools. No longer the black construction workers. It was like black people had the construction jobs. So that's what he's not referring to, like we have a certain segment of jobs, but you have, unfortunately, because of the system, you have a lot of black men that have been previously arrested. And those are the jobs that they were obtaining that the job market went down. He was looking at the job records. He could see when he was president, the job market was up for black people. When he lost the somehow, so allegedly lost the election, then our job market went down, and the illegal immigrants, they could look at the job reports. Not even regular Americans were being hired like illegal immigrants. They were being hired more than everybody else on the totem pole.
If you don't know this, Trump gets all the reports.
The presidents, whether they're still in office or not, they still get a lot of the reports that the present, president is receiving. They still get, they have privy to that information. But anyway, you guys, we're going to get off. We might get back on, but we most definitely are going to be, we're going to be streaming that Putin meeting and Trump. And I don't know how much they're going to share. And we're going to most definitely be streaming after the meeting, whatever he has to say. And Zelensky going to be all over the news. He going to be, he going to be like a little chihuahua. He going to be like, don't know what's going on. He going to be saying whatever, because he's already talking. And that's why I know he can't be in the meeting, because you got to listen right now. And then you make your agreement.
He's going to try to address Bummy again.
Yeah, he always going to try to act like he's not a billionaire. He got $1 billion money in his pocket, but that's okay. We know game. Black people, one thing we do, we know game. We can see game a mile away. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Look for our next live and look for our uploads. That's why we ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to all our moderators that's been on here. We love you. And we want to give a shout out to our members. We want to make sure we mention you guys on every live. and that's Karen Leah Holland, Kay Cooper, Jeremy Stick, Chef Chevy TV, Debbie P, Kevin Law, and Debbie Gossi. Thank you for joining. You guys think about becoming a member if you enjoy our content, or Speak the Truth 2.0. And I do have another channel called Pray to All Here, and I'm going to be working on that channel as well. Just subscribe to it. I'm still getting together, gotta see how God want to lead me. But I have a phenomenal pastor on there called Philip Anthony Mitchell. I believe he's like John the Baptist reincarnated for 2025. He's crying into the wilderness because we are living in the last days, you guys. That's a fact. So anyway, and we do have an Instagram. We're still working on that. My son, the things I want to do, but he's saying, nah, Mom, you can't do it like that. So we're working on that as well. And I am going to start a sports channel. That's my next, because college, I love college football, but NFL, my favorite players are now in the NFL, like Travis Hunter, two-way player from out of Colorado, along with Shedeur Sanders. And he went 5th round, 144 pick. You know, there's a lot of controversy with that. And Shiloh Sanders, I love him. I love his spirit.
Jimmy Horn.
And Jimmy Horn, yeah, I like Jimmy Horn. You know, Ken Ward and Caleb, who's a Bear now. So it's like we're following their careers. We're gonna be at the game, the Eagles game. I think we're gonna fly out to that. We're gonna go to that because we want to see Shedeur in his preseason, and they probably gonna show Dylan Gabriel. So I want to see him play as well. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us.
I'll just say really fast. Like someone said that the Democrats are the party of slavery.
Yeah, they're the party of slavery. And you know, now that Trump and a lot of Republicans black people are starting to wake up. Don't lose this block. Don't lose the black vote, because the black vote does matter in elections. And now that black people are coming, don't target black people and black children, because then people that are supporting you, except for ones who will sell anybody to get views, or they're gonna say what you want to hear. We're not gonna do that. You know, don't target American children. Pray for them, rehabilitate them, just like you would do anyone else. You know, pray for us. And our nation has to stand together, because I think there's a lot of things that hasn't happened inside of this nation because of those open borders, that one day it's going to implode and they're going to show their ugly face. So we need to stand together as American citizens, because we're going to have to one day stand one nation under God.
Kerry Smith, look up Joe Biden 1994 crime bill, because you keep saying that we're scapegoating Biden and we have propaganda about Biden. Look up his crime bill, 1994 crime bill by Joe Biden.
He was the author
and what
of it.
he said.
Yeah, he called us super predators. He calls mass incarceration of black men. That's why these black boys are out on the street with no direction. You take the father out of the household, you're going to break down any family unit. They have to have examples in the household. You can't have mom at work and the kids are running the street. They're going to get into mischief. They're going to get with the wrong groups, the wrong people, tell them about fast money and use them, manipulate them, and use them, saying you can do this and you can get away with that. We got to step in. We got to save our own kids. We can't look, because now they plotting on and you targeting our children. I have a problem with that. You know, so that they're gonna get the same smoke from me with that. I do not like Judge Perro, because she wouldn't be talking like this if they were targeting white kids.
Yeah.
And they do the same stuff. All these kids do the same stuff, but it's a difference when you base everything according to the color of their skin. And when you have the President of the United States labeling children as thugs, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That sets the precedence for the country. You can't do that, because that's a lie. Don't do that. Don't do that. And that's why black people get a bad rap when they see black people. If you see a black young man, he's not a thug. He's a young man, or he's a man. Don't do that. There are people on every race that are criminals, but you don't label them. You don't label them, and that's not right.
All right, I'll try to look up that book.
Anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, tell people about our channel. Thank you, our moderators. We want to give you guys a shout out. And who do we have on here?
Mr. Busky.
Buki, thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us. I think Indoor was
Yeah,
on at one time. Was
Indoor.
Indoor?
Yes.
And Ozzy. I don't know if they're
Ozzy.
still on. But thanks, you guys. Do we have any of our members that were on here? Because we want the members, like when y'all say stuff, we want you guys to have priority. Is Debbie on? She was on yesterday. So anyway, you guys, and Jack, I don't know when you gonna join.
Art of the Mind too. He's always here.
You?
Art of the Mind.
Oh, okay. See, I don't like getting up on the screen. My son get up there, so I can't even see y'all messages, you
Now
guys.
someone said there's only do or don't. There's no try. Because we said Trump is trying.
Yeah, okay, you go with that. We're not gonna argue. That's how you feel. That's an individual opinion. So God bless you.
And Biden was sleeping.
God bless you. Well, hey, people rather have someone that didn't work at all. That's how it goes. That's great. Then you can. That's no opinion. No protest will open borders for 4 years. This is just incredible. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We love you. We thank you for spending your time. We know people in different time zones all over the world, all over the United States. And tell people about our channel. And you know, we want to get 100,000. We can do 100,000 subscribers on one stream. If you look at our screens, we have sometimes 100,000, 200,000 on one time, and we could really do it. So that's why we put on the screen, because we have different people jumping on and off, to hit the like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, so when we do come on, that you guys will be notified. So anyway, thanks for joining us. Enjoy today. Stay safe, and pray for this nation. Pray for the president. Pray for those in authority over us.
Mr. Busey said, see you tomorrow, Jack.
Yeah, we're going to see you tomorrow, Jack.
Jack.
You know, thanks you guys. God bless and take care.
God bless. Bye.
God bless. Peace out.